Welcome to the Weight Coaching Podcast. I'm Allie.
I'm Jeff.
And today we're talking about design versus default.
Ooh, that's a biggie.
It is
That's
a biggie.
huge.
So we're really kind of focusing in on family today.
Yes.
But these ideas can be applied to anything in your life.
This is a principle in the universe.
It is a universal principle.
A universal principle.
No, but so one of the things that, like, after a lot of and moaning on our part about certain things with our kids,
Kids.
we just realized, hey, whenever we have a very common pain point that comes up all the time, we're probably living by default in that area, right?
So an example of that would be like cleaning their bathrooms, cleaning their room, turning lights off. Things like that, where it's like, oh, for the love of, are you serious? You haven't cleaned your room again. Your bathroom looks like trash. The lights are still on. Like, this is a common pain point. And unfortunately, I care too much. It's probably my fault. I need to chill out and just be like,
You are part of the problem.
live how you want to, you filthy animals. But I can't do that because it's my house. And I'm trying to teach them something called stewardship. Anyways,
So when we keep kind of bumping up against this problem, issue, frustration over and over again, it's really revealing to us like a pain point where, again, we're living by default typically rather than design.
So we're just reacting to what's coming at us as opposed to being proactive and really setting culture. We're just like, all angry and mad rather than being like, let's lead through this and be like, well, this is where we're going. This is what we want. And here's why.
Yeah. And so it's been very interesting and almost humbling, this realization of like,
It's been very
there's a pattern here. And it's like, oh, like we're not actually leading in this area. And this is why we're so frustrated, because we're not actually leading. They're not the problem. We are. Because how are we expecting our children, who we are supposed to teach, right, these ideas, to just know this? So anyway, so if you're frustrated about something, just turn it right back on yourself and ask yourself, am I leading well in this area? Yes. What am I not doing? But so let's just talk about some examples. If it feels like we're just saying a bunch of words right now and you're like, I don't know what
We're about to get real
about.
right here.
Let's get real.
Let's get real.
So what's one example?
Let's talk about the boys' rooms.
Very practical.
Very practical.
Yeah. We're getting really frustrated about the way that the rooms look and the lack of stewardship of their stuff and the lack of care for literally the home we have purchased.
And so even context-wise, we have 4 boys that live in 2 rooms in the basement. So there's 2 in a room. They all want their own room. And my answer to them is like, I don't even have my own room. So no, you're not getting your own room. And so this is the reality of life. So you have a roommate. And so that's just the context of it.
Yeah.
And
so we're like, okay, this is a common pain point. So how can we be more proactive? Let's not default. Let's create a design. We haven't ever really thought about the boys' rooms in terms of like, what is the optimal design for them being cared for well, for them being clean? When we're talking about design, we're like, what are routines that they need to follow? Who are the right roommates that are going to make
the right team?
Like the right people in the right seats? Who are the right teams? That are going to influence each other in a positive way. Because we had 2 together that are like ultra responsible. And then we had 2 together that are like ultra irresponsible.
ultra flighty, like ultra, like I didn't even know I shouldn't tear the screen out. Like I didn't even know I should turn my lights off. And you're like, oh, for the love of all that's holy.
Right. And so if you're looking at design over default, like, oh, that's actually not smart to have the 2 that are kind of pulling each other down together. And then 2 who are so ultra responsible that they get on each other's nerves because they're both trying to control the environment.
They're so anally retentive. They're both like, no, there's a no. And you're like, okay.
So we're like, let's mix it up. Let's switch up the room assignments so that both ultra responsible kids will kind of help raise the bar for the others and lead them in that way. So, and then we've created some routines like morning and evening routines where it's like both points if the rooms don't look good, and there's room inspections and all these things. So now the rooms, it's still a thing. I mean, they're still kids.
They're still children. We haven't we understand.
That's not fixable.
We understand they're children and they're going to make messes, and we hold them to a level of responsibility which makes sense. We're not asking too much. Our expectations aren't too high.
Right. But it's going a lot better. It's no longer to this point where you walk downstairs because you've been down there for a few days and you're like, oh, good Lord, what happened?
When you're afraid to walk downstairs in your house because you're not sure what you're going to find, that's a problem. And probably a great indicator that you're living by default, okay? Yeah. Rather than design, walking down and seeing everything is in its place. The right kids are in the right rooms, doing the right things at the right time, so we have the right results. That's design. And it's not perfect. I mean, no one's perfect. Whatever people are a part of usually gets messed up. So
yes, absolutely. But we just wanted to share this idea of what are the patterns? Be sensitive to those patterns. Don't just allow them to drive you nuts. I think one way of thinking of it, and we've both been in this place before, but it's we feel trapped at times. Yeah. Is there an area in your life or even within your family life, your home life, whatever, where you literally feel trapped? And if you're feeling trapped, you're most likely honestly living by default in that area. Because when we're trapped, we're victims.
Yep.
And when we're victims, we don't have control.
We've empowered whatever. We empowered our 7, 10-year-olds and 13-year-old. We've empowered them. It
sounded like you said we had 7, 10-year-olds.
Sometimes if you see the mess, it seems like 7, 10-year-olds, to be honest. Sorry. But you feel by us being victims, we've given them our power. Well, you guys are in charge, so could you please clean? And that is default. Design is no, we are the parental units. We work our tails off to pay for the home that you live in, rent-free, sucker. So you're going to live by these rules. And that's design. You've intentionally designed it that way as opposed to defaulting really what you're saying, your power away because you're a victim to a 7-year-old.
Right. And how they just happen to naturally do it on their own, And obviously this is not to create some utopian sort of our life is not perfect. You can have great design within your family and still your kids are out of control.
So your kids are kids. Still
your kids are kids. There's messes, there's tantrums, there's chaos. Family's crazy, right? But these things should help. They should really prevent just those continuous frustrations and pain points throughout the day. Again, if you're feeling those, if you're bumping into something pretty consistently, then your first implementation of design might not be perfect. You might have to adjust things. That's fine. But begin designing that area of your life.
So step back from it, the frustration, step back from the irritation, the issue, step back and say, okay, I think I'm living by default here rather than design. And then ask yourself, okay, what is something I can implement to be more design-oriented than default-oriented? And then begin to do that. And begin, honestly, because part of it, you ultimately as the parent or the business owner or whatever it is, whether it's a kid or an employee, it's the same issue, right? It's literally the same deal, whether you are a parent or the owner or the boss. If you're living or leading by default rather than design, there's going to be reoccurring frustrations. So look at those frustrations, be like, okay, how can I lead better in those? Lead by design better rather than just enable or allowing and enabling the kid or the employee to lead, therefore by default. And
I will just say that if there is something where you're like, I've been trying to design it, it's not working. If you feel like there's an area, get a guide.
Yeah.
Then get a coach. We have coaches.
Outside perspective.
And so don't be too proud to bring someone into it and get help because we all need a guide. We all need coaches. We all need people who have been where we want to go. And so don't forget that too.
Absolutely. So hopefully this helps. Default versus design. Take a moment in your life. See what is something that you can redesign today rather than living by default.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a great day.